Textiles and fashions rule around us. They define our personalities. They cheer our homes. Yet we take them for granted. The textiles and fashion industry in Germany is a dynamic business. It goes well beyond what many people think of as textiles. It also faces strategic challenges at the EU and global levels. The German industry is represented by Textil+Mode. I recently met Ralf Camphoner, head of their Brussels office and head of international trade, to give me some background on this dynamic business and a brief overview of the issues facing this active trade body. Ralf, hello. Thank you for your time. Could you just tell me a little bit, please, about Textil+Mode and your membership and some of the issues which are facing your organisation?
Textil+Mode is the association representing the German textile and fashion industry. It's the voice of a strong and innovative industry. In our sector, we have nice products like home textiles, fashion products that we all need. But there's so much more on top. 60% of textiles and fashion in Germany, of our sector, is in technical textiles. These are products like stadium roofs. These are products like textile concrete that allow you to build very sophisticated, thin, modern bridges, for instance. There's so much more in this sector. We are major suppliers for the automotive industry, for the aerospace industry. It's a fascinating world, and it's because there's so much innovation in the sector that it's so competitive and so strong on the world market.
That sounds very dynamic, Ralf. Now, there's various issues which are affecting businesses across the board, not just textiles, and those are questions of climate change and the environment. From your perspective, what is it you're actually doing, and what is your position on these challenging issues?
We are part of a changing environment. The discussion on climate change, on the protection of the environment is evolving, but also discussions on workers' rights in our sourcing countries continue. That means for us, when now the discussion takes place on the European Green Deal, when the discussion on the circular economy, so we stand to engage with policymakers in a constructive dialogue that's based on information, consultation, and then jointly we will achieve the best results.
You mentioned the circular economy. What does that actually mean, and what does it mean to your members?
Let me give you a very tangible example, like this pencil. This is made of reused fibers, and this is an example of how circular you can become also in the textile sector, because circular economy is being discussed with a strong focus on our industry, on textiles, and therefore the most obvious thing to get it right is to involve us closely in discussions, and for us, of course, to proactively contribute our point of view.
So there must be quite a lot of emphasis put into innovation and research and development.
If you want to stay on the very, very top of the world market, then you need to be innovative, you need to do a lot of research, and that is where we are consecrating quite a lot of resources to in Germany. You can find out more on our website textil-mode.de, where you can have access to all the different facets this can take, and it's fascinating. So we need research, we need development, we need science, and we contribute again our part to it, but we need also policymaker support in making Europe a more science and innovation based continent. And of course we need policymaker support to strengthen the vocational training systems that we have here on our continent, and we need policymaker support to give our companies access to skilled workforce.
Now, when it comes to innovation, I've heard about wearable technology and people using their fashion to make payments. Are there any other practical areas or delivery that's provided?
So you have a textile electrocardiogram. You have many more fields in medicine technology, where sophisticated textiles are used, and to produce them is a contribution we are very proud of, because it gives us also a role in helping patients to improve the quality of medical care. It's one of the many facets where German textiles are extremely helpful for all of us.
Now, when we talk about the industry and the sector, obviously there's a lot happening in Germany, there's a lot happening in the EU level, but it's a very global business as well. So what is your position when it comes to international trade, and how are you influencing international trade at the EU level from here?
Let me answer by taking again the example of a product. A shirt, a simple shirt like I'm wearing it today. And there are examples where a shirt can have 140 different countries of origin. Ingredients, parts that come from all different parts of the world. And if you want to use them in a manner that makes sense, in an orchestrated way, you need two things. You need free trade and fluid border procedures. Free and fluid trade, that is fundamental for our sector. And that is why we need a strong rules-based multilateral trading system, and the institution governing and ensuring that trade is rules-based and multilateral. This is the World Trade Organization, the WTO. We need a strong WTO. And on top of the World Trade Organization, we need to seize the full potential of bilateral and regional trade agreements, like the one the European Union has concluded with Vietnam, that we hope can be ratified in the near future. And the trade agreement the European Union has negotiated with Mercosur after almost 2 decades of negotiations. And we wait for the entry into force of this major agreement that will cut tariff peaks, for instance, in Brazil. Sometimes tariff peaks that are incredibly high. And by letting Mercosur enter into force, we will give a vitamin boost to the industry, also in Germany.
When we talk of international trade, there are two rather important events. One could say is seismic. That's the departure of the UK from the EU. The transitional process has been engaged, and there's a free trade agreement about to be negotiated. What is your position on that free trade agreement?
Brexit makes the cake smaller for all those who are involved. It makes the cake smaller for the United Kingdom, who will be a much smaller trading partner, with all due respect for a great country of free trade. But it makes a difference if the United Kingdom negotiates with the United States or with China, or a strong European Union of 27 or 28 countries. And then there will be the negotiations between the United Kingdom and the European Union. Now, it's important to see that the contribution of the United Kingdom has not only been the role of a strong trading nation, but also the role of a strong supporter of free trade in the Council of the European Union. Now, after Brexit, this voice is missing. Now, ironically, the United Kingdom will be seeking to get to terms with the free trade agreement with the EU27, but this very EU27 will be a less liberal one, because the free trade voice of the United Kingdom is now missing.
It's not just the UK's departure from the EU that's going to exercise our thinking over this year. There's also modernisation of the GSP, and that process starts in February. What is Textil+Mode's position on the GSP, and what will you be looking for in the modernised system?
The EU's generalised system of preferences is a tool that usefully reconciles development and trade policies. It's a tool that grants trade preferences to countries that are poorly diversified, to countries that are small, to countries where social, environmental, climate, good governance and other standards are in need of being improved. The GSP is a contribution to that. Now, how does the GSP work? An incentive can only work if it is understood by those to whom it is directed. And these are the European companies importing from the beneficiary countries of the GSP. That means for the GSP that it needs to live up to three needs. It needs to be manageable, needs to be reliable, and it needs to be predictable. Manageable, so that also a small company with a smaller number of employees can easily understand the GSP and say, this is the tool that we are going to use. And then you need predictability and legal certainty. You need to know when you make your contract that when the merchandise comes in and is cleared through customs, that the same conditions apply that you could possibly foresee when you signed the contract. That is the GSP, and I'm quite optimistic that we will have a good GSP also after 2024.
Thank you very much for that, Ralph, and thank you very much for talking to me about Textil+Mode and some of the issues facing your members at the national, EU and international level. And I look forward to looking at some of these issues in a bit more detail at a later stage.
Thank you very much.